Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter for today's topic. Today we're going to be looking at our brand new version of Church Windows, which is 19.16, which you should be seeing on your screen now. We're going to talk about some new features that have been written into the attendance reporting side of Church Windows. So before we jump into the topic, I want to point out a couple things about your GoToWebinar toolbar. There is a place to ask questions. So if you have any questions that are related to today's topic of attendance reporting, feel free to type those in on that question section of the GoToWebinar toolbar. Josh is listening in with us today. He's happy to answer those questions. If you have any specific questions to your data or questions are a little off topic though, I would ask that you send us an email to support@churchwindows.com, or you can always call us at our support line and we would be happy to answer those questions for you. But today we just have 20 minutes. We got a decent amount of stuff to cover. As I was starting to make the outline for today, I thought, oh, this will be pretty quick. But then I saw all the new features and I really want to take the time to show you guys as much as I possibly can within the 20 minutes, because attendance reporting now is so much more flexible than it's ever been. So, one more thing too, on the GoToWebinar toolbar, there is a little orange rectangular box with a white arrow in it. If you click that, it will actually shrink up the GoToWebinar toolbar, which will give you a little bit more space on your screen to see what I'm covering today. So feel free to shrink that up. So there's a couple things, kind of some hot topics I want to go over of what we're going to go into today to give you an idea of the new features. So first bullet point I have, it says attendance entry comments can now be added to the attendance summary by event report. So that's the first thing we're going to go over. Second thing is now you have the option to show the communion count on your attendance report. They've also added additional formatting options for the attendance report and the attendance worksheet, which we'll go over. Attendance report now has the ability to show any membership field, and you can show parents' membership data. So if you want to run a report on a Sunday school class, you can now get like parents' emails or parents' cell phones on it if you want, which is awesome. And then also for the attendance worksheet, this has been completely rewritten, and it also is going to include the ability to show any membership fields and or parents' information. So we're going to go over each of those bullet points today in a little more detail to really show you all the flexibility with attendance reporting. So first thing I want to go over is this attendance entry comments. So what I did in preparation for today is I actually went in and I did some attendance. So let me pull up membership, and I'm going to click on attendance, and I'm going to go right into attendance entry. So I'm going to go ahead and choose our worship service, Sunday AM worship, and I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to choose, since it's green, I'm going to choose the 14. Green tells me that there is attendance information on this day. So what I did was I kind of went in and put in information from how my church was last Sunday. So obviously these aren't my people, they're just sample people. But I went through and I checked who was present and who communed so I can get a report on it. And then I also went to this comments tab. Let me grab my highlighter so you can see it. But on this comments tab here, you can put in information about the service itself. And now you can get these comments printed on an attendance report, which I'll show you in a minute. But I just wanted to show you where the comments pull from. So you can put some general meeting notes in. Worship started promptly. We had 4 communion stations. Whatever makes sense to you, or whatever pertains to that worship service. Lessons studied. We did death was arrested as our topic. Put that in there. And then also some attendance factors. It was raining cats and dogs on Sunday, so thunderstorms and downpours. So these notes might be helpful for you when you go back through and you really look at why your numbers were what they were when you entered in attendance. So these comments can be pretty crucial for people that might go over and analyze the numbers, okay? So this is where those comments get entered. And let me show you now, if I close this, where you can get this information on a report. So we're going to go into reports, we're going to go into attendance, and then we're going to go into summary by event group classes. So from here, I'm going to leave my date range for the whole year. I want to see all my worship services, or all my dates for my Sunday worship, I should say. So I'm going to come over here and just check the event that I want the report on. You can, of course, check all of them if you have multiple worship services. I'm going to leave it for the whole year. I'm going to leave it per meeting date. So I want to see information per meeting date or per worship service. So when I put in attendance. And then I'm also going to pop up here to this columns tab. So on this columns tab, this is going to be new. This is going to give you lots of options for ways you can customize your report. So if their fields are over on the right, these are the visible columns, what you're going to see printed on your attendance summary by event report. So I have my date, the name of my event/class, the number of members, visitors, the total, a meeting average, which if you see down here, there is a note about that saying it'll only show on monthly and annual report formats. So because we did per event, it's not going to show. That's right back here, report format. So if we would have done monthly or annually, we would see that average. But we're not going to because we did per event, meeting date. And then here are our notes section. So this is our general meeting notes, our lesson studies, and our attendance factors. So I want to make sure if you're wanting to see those comments that you plugged in on your attendance entry screen, these fields need to be added on the right under visible columns. So I'm going to go ahead and hit print. And the report's going to start building for us. And it's going to show us those comments. Okay. So here's all my Sunday worship services that I've put in, and here's my members column, my visitor column, and my total column. And if you look right here, let me grab my highlighter again, you now have your general notes, which I put worship started promptly for communion stations. You have your lessons column header, death was arrested, that was the topic of our lessons for the next month, and then also attendance factors is down here. So if we scroll down, we can see now right here thunderstorms and downpours. Okay, so you can now get those comments to print on your summary by event report. Okay, pretty straightforward. You can also come in here and play with these column widths too. You can shrink the column widths if you wish. Since we're only querying on Sunday AM worship, you could always remove this column from printing if you wanted to. But all that can be done either on the columns tab here or, and over here on the right you also have your width. So you can shrink column widths as well if you want to. There's also this new fonts and lines tab you're going to see on a lot of the attendance reports. This allows you to change any font if you wish, and you can also come down here and adjust your line colors. So say you want to see a darker gray and a lighter gray to help you decipher the rows. All that's here, lots of customizing. All right, let's move on to this communion count bullet point that I told you at the beginning about the attendance report. So I'm going to go reports, attendance, attendance report. So you now have this wonderful checkbox here. It says indicate communion. So this is actually going to show you per person and per date your communion that you had. So let me get back to my pointer. I'm going to leave it for the whole year again. but I'm going to come in and just check my Sunday AM worship like we have been doing. Now you can also come up to the People tab, and now you can put a criteria in. So say you only want the attendance report on men, or say you only want it on people with a particular status code or in a certain age range. All of that criteria can now be put in using the Select a Membership field drop box. Let's go up to the Fields column header. Fields column header is where you're actually going to pick and choose what information is going to print on your report. So similar to the other report, whatever you have over on the right under Visible Fields, which is over here, is the information that you're going to see per person. Now, this also has the ability to set a field over to the right, like email address, and then also pick it only for a specific family member. So say you want to include email address, but you only want to see it for parents, or you only want to see it for the attendee and the parent. So this might be really beneficial if you're running an attendance report on a Sunday school class. So you can get parents' emails, parents' cell phones if you wish, and I'll show you that in the next example. But for now, I'm going to leave it on name. You can also come up to this row height and column widths tab, and you can really come in and fine-tune what your report's going to look like. So you can change the width of the personal information column if you wish. You can change the width of the date column. How high the height of the row is. You can do all of that here. Of course, you can leave it on the default if you don't care to get that technical about things, but it gives you an option. You can always skip this tab if you really don't care and you're happy with the default that we put in. Sort tab. This is more options for you to customize. Right now it's just sorted strictly alphabetical, which I'm going to leave it on, but you can really come in and fine-tune it to what you want. You also have your fonts and lines tab, just like the other report as well. You can adjust your fonts and you can adjust your line color if you wish. But just as a recap, we did check this Indicate Communion checkbox, and let's hit Print so you can get a good idea of what this report is going to look like for you. Alright, so here's page 1 that started to load. Because we just included name, we are only seeing that. We're just seeing the person's name listed along the left-hand side. Now, you're going to see these little dots. Let me grab my highlighter. Right next to the check mark. These little dots actually indicate when this person took communion, or when communion was marked for this event, when attendance was put in. So you can quickly glance around and see when they came and if they took attendance or not. Another great thing about this, the little dots, you also have a legend down here. So if you ever forget, or the first time you come in you're not sure what the dots are for, here's your little key if you need that. But then you also have these great total columns over here. So your total column is going to be for how many times they attended, how many check marks they have, and then the little dot, they actually decided to go with the dot because the word communion is really long, so it would have come all the way up here. But you have your little dot that shows you how many times this person communed. So it's a quick way to reference how often they came, how many times they communed. Then, if we scroll down to the bottom, or the last page of this report, you also have some nice totals at the bottom as well. And then it's going to follow. So this is going to give you totals per event, and this is going to give you the totals per person, and then your grand totals down here at the bottom. All right. Another really handy report with lots of options to customize. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is the attendance worksheet. So this would be a good report that you can hand out for like Sunday school classes. So that was the example I thought we'd go over today. So to get to that attendance worksheet, you're going to go to Reports, Attendance, Attendance Worksheet. And for this example, we're going to leave it for the whole year. Meeting frequency, we're going to do weekly. Repeats, we're going to do, or it meets on Sunday. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to check my first couple Sunday school classes as an example. So let me go over to fields, and this is where you can decide what information for these kids is going to print on the report. So I set up their last name, their phone number, and their birth date. And then I also wanted to add email address because I want to see the parent's email on this report. So with that, you can come over to this family members column and you can decide of these fields who is the information going to print on. So I have an A, which stands for attendee only. So this is going to be for the kid because we're doing a Sunday school class. And I just want to see the kid's birth date as well. Home phone, that's for the family. So attendee only will work for there. But email address, if you hit the little down arrow, we're going to set it to parents only. You can do attendee and parents if you want to. Most kids probably have emails these days, but I'm going to do parents only. You could also move cell phone over if you wanted to, or other phone, and set that to parents only if you wanted the contact information for the parents right on the worksheet. This is a label field. So if you don't put anything in this label column, it's going to default the column header to print whatever this is. Okay, you can always change the field name if you want to be something shorter. Instead of birth date, you can put birthday. Instead of email address, you can do email, what have you. You also have a couple other options down here. Once again, you have your row height and your column width. If this is something you like to make very detailed and make your own, you can come in and change it. If you're happy with our settings, skip right over it. Here's your sort tab, same as the other reports as well. You can get pretty specific on the order you want your attendees to print in. Once again, font and lines, you can change that to whatever you like. And there's also some heading options. I believe there's going to be another webinar on this that'll be a little more detailed. But for now, let's just hit print so you can get an idea of what this report's going to look like. So for our first group in class I selected, it was first and second grade Sunday school. Here are the dates that it's going to meet, our Sundays, and then here's the information that we've selected to print for our kiddos. So Bertha, here's her home phone, here's her birth date. There's no email information. Her parents might not have an email listed, or there might not be a parent listed in her household. But down here, if we look at Mark, we can see that we have both his parent, Richard, and Karen's email addresses printing. So, some really fun, cool features we have for you in attendance reporting. Let me go look at questions and see if we have any coming in. So, if you have any questions for the attendance topic, please type those up. We're happy to help you. Looks like a couple people are asking about the update. I'm sorry, I should have covered that at the beginning. 19 is going to be coming out in waves. So keep an eye out on it. I would say by the end of the month, you should be hearing something about when it's going to be available. But if you haven't gotten it, you will. Sit tight. We're going to do it out in waves, okay? All right, we have a question here. It's actually about entering attendance, but I'll touch on it real quick for you, Heidi. She's asking, how do we get rid of the excuse tab? You can do that by coming in here in attendance entry and going into options, I believe. And right here, under excused absence tracking, Heidi, you just remove these two check marks, and that should take care of it for you. Brenda has a question about printing labels. Brenda, you can definitely do that. Please give us a call or shoot us an email. It's a little bit more in depth than we have time for today, but I'm happy to give you an answer for it. Give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll get you taken care of. All right, any other questions? My timer says we're right at the 20-minute mark. Any other questions, please type them in. We're happy to answer, and if we don't see any coming in, then I'll go ahead and close up the webinar. All right. Don't see any more coming in. I hope you all learned something new that will help you do your job, or make your job a little easier, I should say. But this is going to be recorded. It'll be out on the website in the near future. Also, version 19 will be available this month, so keep an eye out for it, and you will be getting it in the near future, okay? All right, Jesse, I see you have a question on attendance entry. Not going to have time to go over that today. Please give us a call or shoot us an email. Jesse, you can ask for me specifically. Rachel, I'll be happy to give you some tips on attendance entry if you'd like. All right, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for attending, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.